I'm Christy Kennedy, the Northern Virginia Program Manager for Serving Together. I've been with the organization for about 4 years, and Serving Together works to connect our military veterans, their family members, to needed resources in the community. And we do so in a variety of different ways, but the prominent way is through peer navigation services that we provide to really provide immediate assistance to those military veterans or family members to connect to needed resources like yourselves. We also run collaboratives like this one right here. We are also part of several other ones in the community, and we also do community education, so I'll be sure to provide you guys an update on that soon. And if you have some type of military affiliation, I encourage you to share that as well. I am a military spouse. My husband is currently serving in the Air Force, and we've been in this area for quite a while, and we hope to continue to be here for quite a while as well. And so with that, I think I will turn it over to Julie Ricks. I'll wait for my presenters towards the end since they're going to be presenting today. So Julie.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Julie Riggs. I am the chapter director for the National Capital Region chapter of Blue Star Families. And we are a nonprofit organization that supports military families, veterans, and our communities through connecting people to their communities and welcoming people to their communities. And I'll talk a little bit more at the end part too. Thanks, Christy.
Yeah, no problem. Heidi.
Hi, everybody. Heidi Lenzini. I'm with the Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center. We also, my particular initiative is called Ahead for the Future, and you focus on traumatic brain injury, and I'm good to see some familiar faces today. I'm also a Navy veteran, retired almost 5 years ago with 20 years of service.
Awesome. Thanks, Heidi. Paquan with Red Cross.
Everyone. Hey, Christy. Thanks for having me. My name is Paquan Boston. I'm with the American Red Cross. My office is out of Fairfax, Virginia, and I'm the volunteer recruiter for the National Capital Area, which includes DC, Alexandria, Arlington, and Fairfax. So with me, I am an Army spouse. My husband is active Army, and we're about to rotate this summer. So we're headed to Colorado Springs, and this is probably my last collaborative with you, Christy. So my last day of work will be June 26th, and there has not been a replacement announced yet. So I'm going to leave my my binder with your name in it, Christy. So hopefully when that person comes on board, they'll be able to connect with you to get back on this schedule. But with the American Red Cross, as we're dealing with COVID, a lot of our blood donation centers are in need of blood donors, and we're also in need of blood donor screeners. So those are the volunteers that are the temperature takers at our blood donation centers and our blood drives. So if there's an interest, or if you know any people that are interested in volunteering with the Red Cross, that is an immediate need right now. We also have immediate needs with our disaster action teams as well. So be happy to talk to anyone offline about any of that for the Red Cross. But thanks, Christy.
Awesome. Thanks, Paquan. We will sorely miss you for sure, but hopefully you'll find some awesome community over in Colorado. Is that right? Where you're headed?
Colorado Springs, yeah, Peterson Air Force Base.
Awesome, very cool. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Let's see, Mallory last.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mallory Lass, and I am here today with the Stephen A. Cohen Military Family Clinic at Easter Seals. At Easter Seals, we're doing a lot, and I'm glad to share a little bit of it with you guys. I am also an Air Force veteran, and I'm very proud and honored to be here and continuing to serve in this capacity. At the Cohen Clinic at Easter Seals, we provide mental health counseling for anybody who's ever served in the military. If you've served one day in uniform, you are eligible for services. It doesn't matter how you were discharged, how you served, or when you served. A veteran is a veteran, a service member is a service member, and we'll assist any way we can. That includes active duty, National Guard and Reserve, and their family members. Family is defined by the service member, So that can be dating partners, it can be children of any age, it can be in-laws, whomever has been affected by that individual's life and service. We want to be able to provide services anyway. We do individual counseling for ages 4 and up. We do couples counseling and family counseling. Again, counseling is with or without the veteran or service member involved. So everybody is eligible for services. The veteran or service member, again, does not have to be in services for the family member to be eligible. In addition to our counseling services, we also have wellness programs and groups. We're doing an online yoga and mindfulness program, as well as a Shakespeare program at this time. I'm gearing up to do some art, some upcycling art this month, so keep a heads up for that, as well as some office hours where if you have any questions or if the Cohen Clinic can be of assistance to you, we want to be there to help support. At Easter Seals, we also have a ton of additional programs, such as the Veteran Staffing Network. Yolanda Rayford is usually here to share about that, and I'm just stepping in for her today. The Veteran Staffing Network helps with employment for any service member transitioning out of the military, veterans regardless of discharge or their spouses. She is offering a ton of career coaching class at this time. Those are on Tuesdays. She has the next one scheduled for June 9th on effective communication during the job search and some other programs. She also has an upcoming workshop through the Fort Belvoir USO, which is a virtual class that they're going to be hosting. I believe it's on networking. I'm going to put both my information and Yolanda's information in the chat box, so that way you can contact us if needed. And I'll send Christy some flyers if you don't mind sending those out afterwards if anybody's interested in learning more about our services. But both of our programs are always happy to collaborate and share our services. We believe that we're stronger together and we can do more as a community. So any way that we can work together to do more, we're always happy to talk about those opportunities. So let us know how we can do more. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Mallory. And yes, happy to share. So feel free to email anything my way, and I'll be sure to include it in the follow-up notes. My co-chair, Michelle Cole, are you there?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
How's it going?
It's going well, thank you. My name is Michelle Cole. My organization is MK9 Service Dogs. I'm the Director of Operations and Canine Programs. We raise and train service dogs to give to veterans with mental health and or physical mobility issues. I am a Navy spouse. My husband retired Navy, and our son is current active duty Navy as a submariner. And we as an organization have resumed our training with our veterans using social distancing, so they're able to see and work with their service dogs in training, which has been very uplifting for them because so many of them are even more isolated than they normally would be. So.
Great. Thanks for the update. I'm glad that you guys are able to resume that. Michelle Palmer.
Hey everyone, I'm Michelle Palmer. I am the Vet Success on Campus Counselor with the Department of Veterans Affairs, and I split my time between the Northern Virginia Community College, Annandale, and Alexandria campuses. And my role is to just be kind of that bridge between veterans or their dependents using their education benefits and the VA, helping them use their benefits, answering questions about how to use their benefits, how to sign up for their benefits, general VA questions, and also get them started in the vocational rehabilitation and employment program if they qualify.
Awesome, thank you. Richard Lane, Legal Services of Northern Virginia.
Yeah, my name is Richard Lane. I'm the Veterans Law Paralegal with the Legal Services in Northern Virginia. I am a Navy veteran. I was in 8 years before I was medically discharged. Most of my work is working on discharge upgrades for veterans and throughout Virginia. But the Legal Services in Northern Virginia provides, civil legal assistance to low-income and at-risk individuals, including veterans here in Northern Virginia. I'll post a link to our website on the chat box here in just a second. Thank you.
Great. I have a few folks that have called in, but I'll go ahead and go to Elizabeth Washington.
Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth Washington. I'm a Veterans Case Manager for a nonprofit called Brain Injury Services. We provide community resource services, community case management, and supportive services to individuals in Northern Virginia that have acquired brain injuries such as TBIs, strokes, any type of brain aneurysms. We provide services to all ages from infants all the way to our seniors. Basically, I'm a veteran of the Army for 8 years and a military wife. Our organization is currently operational. We're still supporting our clients. And if you know of any veterans out there that need support, that are having challenges navigating their brain injuries or TBIs, please please call us. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you as well.
Bob Bent.
Good morning, or good afternoon. First, let me apologize. I don't have a video, so you can see my face. I have to rely upon viewing the video from my side and the audio system. I'm from the Disabled American Veterans, and I am a commissioner in the state of Virginia, and have a large cadre of people in the rural area as well as the towns who service and assist with the claims process, homeless program, employment, etc., depending upon the needs of the veteran. Even during this crisis, we have available assistance to the veterans and family members in the Commonwealth, to include Northern Virginia, and we have access to the national organization located in Cold Springs, Kentucky, to assist in that endeavor. I'm a 29-year retired Army officer, and enjoy my last, 40 years with the Disabled American Veterans, so I do have some experience in that area. And we're just one of the veteran service organizations that try to help the veterans and family members. Anybody have any questions? Christy knows how to get up with me. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. I'm glad you're here and glad you're doing well. Natasha Grant.
Thanks, Christy. Hi, everyone. My name is Natasha Grant, and I'm a colleague of Elizabeth Washington. I also work for Brain Injury Services. Specifically, I am the vocational manager, and our department supports our clients, which includes veterans, with their long-term goals of either returning to paid employment or volunteer placement.
Great, great. Glad you're here.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Well, good to hear you, at least.
Good to hear you, yes.
Let's see. I would have lost Dee Dee. Oh, Dee Dee, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Dee Dee.
Hi, Chrissy. Hi, everyone. I'm Dee Dee with RAFT. Our program is called RAFT, Regional Older Adult Mental Health Program in Northern Virginia area. We discharge individuals from state hospital and place them in long-term care facilities, nursing home, assisted living facilities, and we do trainings and consultation on mental health. I'm happy to report that we had luck last week and this week. We started admitting folks again in long-term care facilities because we haven't been able to do it since COVID. So now facilities are actually opening up for hospital discharge for individuals who are COVID negative. So that's good news. We're able to get some out, and we do have some veterans that we are assisting. So that's good news. So thank you guys.
Good to hear that you guys are starting to be able to serve. That's great. Erin Odell.
Hey guys, my name is Erin Odell. I am an education coordinator for the Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center. We are DHA's TBI Center of Excellence. We hang among a few other centers of excellence. There's a psych health center of excellence, a vision center of excellence, and a hearing center of excellence as well. But we are solely focused on traumatic brain injuries. We have countless resources for service members and veterans and their families that are all geared towards prevention, awareness, and rehabilitation. I myself am here on Fort Belvoir and serve the National Capital Region, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, and Delaware, but we do have other sites across the country and also one in Launchstool. So I will put our website information in the chat box and my email address as well. So if anybody has any questions, I definitely like to connect with those of you that work for brain injury services and get you guys some of our resources. I think they'd be really, really helpful and useful for you guys. So hopefully we can connect a bit later.
Awesome, great. I also have on here a couple of phone numbers, but I'll check in with those after I go to Nasifa. Is that how I say your name?
Yes, that's correct.
You want to give us an introduction?
Yeah, sure thing. I'm a case manager for Stephen A. Cohen Military Clinic at Easter Seals. I work very closely in hand with Mallory, who is on the call as well. I apologize, I came in a little bit late. The main focus of case management is just being able to connect our clients to the resources. So I look forward to hearing and learning about different resources.
Great, glad you're here. Welcome to the Cohen Clinic team.
Thank you.
Awesome, and so we do have 4 speakers today, but before I start introducing those folks, is there anybody else that dialed in that wants to introduce themselves?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Brittany Jones with Virginia Department of Veteran Services. Hi, Christy and
Hey.
everyone. I am the Senior Veteran Resource Specialist for Virginia Veteran and Family Support, which is part of Virginia Department of Veteran Services. We are a state agency, and we have 6 different service lines: our care centers, our cemeteries, Virginia War Memorial, and Employment and Transition Program, a benefits service line, and my program, which is Virginia Veteran and Family Support. All of our services are still going and have been going, which is great, just at a little bit of a limited capacity. I know a lot of our benefits staff, they've still been trying to file claims, still been trying to do everything, just kind of been a little bit more creative on getting releases, but we are still all working. My program primarily provides peer support and connection to resources with an emphasis on behavioral health needs. So we actually contract with local clinicians in the community to be able to, and we can reimburse for that for those who do not have any type of, any barriers to accessing that treatment elsewhere. That's kind of us. And I'm sorry, I'm not able to access Zoom. I tried. We've had so many complications, so that was why I'm calling in.
No worries, and that's one of the nice things about Zoom is that we can have that call-in feature if folks can't call in. So we know many of the military organizations also are not allowed to access Zoom. So we're glad you're on, even if it's by calling in. So thanks for being here, Brittany.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anyone else on a phone line? I think there might be one other number. All right, well, with that, I want to turn it over to our presenters and give them each a little bit of time to talk about their organizations. Michelle did a great job connecting with these organizations to bring them out to speak about some unique job opportunities, employment opportunities, and programs that are out there for veterans. And I think, especially in light of everything that's going on, we have a lot of unemployment happening in the community during this time. Lots of businesses are starting to reopen, which is great. And there's many businesses that have been continuing to hire throughout this entire process. So I'm excited to hear more about these organizations, for them to share more about the work that they're doing in the community, especially around the veteran space. So with that, I want to turn it over first to Dale York with Nova Vets Connect. And Dale, if you do want to share your screen, you're welcome to, but you don't have to if you don't have anything you want to share.
I don't have anything to share at the moment, but thank you so much for having me and inviting me. This is wonderful. So thank you, Christy.
Absolutely.
A background on Nova Vets Connect. I had started this this agency in April of 2019, so we're just a little bit over a year old. I grew up in a military household. My parents divorced. I grew up with my grandparents. He was a Marine over in Guam in World War II. So while I never served, I did grow up in a military household. The purpose of Nova Vets Connect was essentially that. I created this to connect veterans with other veterans. The idea behind it was to deal with loneliness, isolationism, depression. So as I had veterans that were living at home and they were isolated, I would hire veterans to work with them to help them, whether it was meals, transportation, just companionship, just to provide something to our vets at home. Things morphed a little bit over time, and I was getting asked, well, you're helping my dad or you're helping Mr. Jones or whomever, but now they need help with mobility issues or ambulation or transferring. So I went through the state, and now we're actually a licensed home care agency. So legally, we're Nova Vets Connect, but we do provide home care services. And it's just been a really, really strange time right now. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. We're doing well, but there's a lot of people that don't want to work. There's people that are knocking down my doors because they do want to work, but some clients don't want people coming into their homes. So it is just, it's a crazy time. And I know there's other healthcare professionals on here. So I love what I do. We want to help as best as we can, you know, but we're just plugging one day at a time.
Sorry, couldn't get on mute for a second.
That's okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can, definitely. Does anybody have any questions for Dale?
I can tell you that we, our service area is all of Northern Virginia. And my need for veterans, it does kind of waver from time to time. Sometimes I have a huge need, and other times I have plenty of clients and everyone's kind of tucked away nicely, so I'm not hiring. But I do get cases from case managers. Sometimes I don't know what to do with them. So to be part of an organization like this is wonderful. I got a call today from a lady. She wants to bring her mom home. She's living in an assisted living. She's getting veterans aid and attendance. Her husband served for many, many years in the Air Force. She's 90 years old, has no money. They want to bring her home from an assisted living, and they need somebody a couple of hours a day to come over and help her with meals and get dressed and so on and so forth. And she lives in Woodbridge. So I'm a little stuck on this one, but that's what I do. I want to make sure that I'm making myself available to vets and to civilians to help them out into their homes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And really, you know, with the 4 speakers today, you know, if anybody has questions throughout it, feel free to put it in the chat box or, you know, kind of make this a little bit of a dialogue conversation because we want it to be as helpful as possible to each of you as you guys are learning about each of these organizations. And with that, I want to have our next speaker, Katie Leonard with Zero Model.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be a part of this group. My name is Katie Leonard. I am the founding partner of Zero Model Nova. I guess to be like everybody else, my background, I grew up on military bases. Both of my parents are former Army, and I was a former Army spouse. I've dealt with deployment, I've dealt with loss, I've dealt with PTSD, I've dealt with addiction from my ex-husband, and so I know a lot about military issues, deployments, and the things that go along with that. I launched Zero Model Nova in an effort to create opportunities and economic mobility for people with criminal histories, particularly. We launch companies, we grow companies to hire people with barriers to employment within those companies. We do not reverse discriminate. We don't tell people if you don't have a felony conviction or if you don't have a dishonorable discharge, you cannot work with us. We want the best of the best because for us, it's about highlighting and showcasing skills, talent, and ability. With the companies that we have in the portfolio, one right now is an auto transport company that is veteran owned and operated. And we are always looking for drivers. It's a hotshot trucking company. They go all across the country and they do 3 cars at a time. So from dealerships, ports, residential pickups, he's looking for drivers right now. If you guys do have folks that have a driving license, that they do not have any moving violations on that license, we're always happy to interview and talk to them. For us, it's about removing a lot of the barriers when people come to meet with us. So our interviewing process is a lot different. I really don't require the resume, the cover letter and all of that, because we're trying to just really evaluate and see the whole person and what they bring to the table, what their work experience is, what their passion is, and then how we can really move together to allow them to have a meaningful income. Nobody makes less than a living wage within any of our portfolio companies. So right now, nobody makes less than $16 an hour within any company across the board, because we know what income means. We know that income is your biggest predictor of health and quality of life. And so we work to really make sure people can be upwardly mobile in our community.
Awesome, thank you, Katie. And I'll just pause and see if anybody has any immediate questions for Katie.
I have a question for Katie.
Yes.
Hi, this is Elizabeth with Brain Injury Services. Katie, do you work with veterans that have disabilities and that are challenged by their disabilities? Do you assist those individuals?
It depends on the actual job. So right now within the portfolio, we are only hiring for auto transport drivers. So we need people to be able to get up and down off of the trailers and tie the vehicles down. For us, it's about the companies that come through right now with COVID and some of the impacts that we had at the last quarter of 2019. I'm not launching any new companies in the next year. I am looking at really providing business support and business strategy to entrepreneurs, looking at entrepreneurs that have untraditional routes of, the path to entrepreneurship has been different for them. So whether that's veterans, whether that's minorities, looking at how can people access capital, how can they access the resources that they need, and what those barriers have been. So if you have people that on the surface, people might discriminate based on a disability or based on what they look like, their route to success in business is different. And so I'm pivoting a little to provide business, like I said, business support and strategy to those entrepreneurs, helping them pivot now in COVID-19 times, whether that's through sales strategies, operations strategies, marketing, and they might need different platforms or different tech that they might not be used to. And so providing that service to kind of get everybody to a point where we can then grow. Ideally, I'm looking at like 2022 right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Katie? All All right. With that, I want to shift over to Victoria with Shelters to Shutters.
Hello, everybody. My name is Victoria, and so what we do at Shelters to Shutters is that we are an employment program, and we specifically help to connect those who are currently or at risk of experiencing homelessness to jobs in the property management field. So typically those positions are entry level, mostly maintenance technician. In this area, there are less groundskeeping positions, so porter, make ready, turnkey, as well as some leasing consultant positions. Now, what we have seen during this pandemic is most of our partners are on hiring freezes, though they do still hire for emergency roles. And those positions are typically some kind of maintenance. Now, a lot of our candidates do have maintenance experience and so are able to get into higher level roles such as maintenance tech 2 or even some supervisory positions. So we have had 5 interviews within the past 1 to 2 months for maintenance positions. No hires as of right this second, but we just don't know. So our program is really based on communication between the partners and us, as well as between our candidates and ourselves in order to best get them hired. And so right now, what we're focused on is I am doing cover letters with each and every, or video cover letters with each and every candidate that we have, in order to best showcase their personality and their skills and why they're a good fit for whichever position that they are applying for. And so I do coaching videos to help them create that 30 to 45 second intro. I know there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm missing right now. We typically do hiring events, and so these video cover letters right now are kind of bypassing the hiring event, getting that face-to-face introduction that our candidates and industry partners would typically have. Other than that, we're focused on online applications. The more online applications a candidate can fill out, obviously the more opportunities available to them and the more interviews they can get. That's, I think, about it.
Thank you, Victoria. Can you speak to a little bit more about, some of the benefits that come with being, employed through some of your partner organizations?
Yes, that is thank you. Thank you so much. That is a huge draw. So the housing that can come with the employment, it is pretty much just a more significant employee discount. So every employee at a property management firm gets some kind of housing discount if they choose to live on that property. Typically it's around 20%. However, because of their partnership with Shelters to Shutters, they have agreed to give between a 40 to 70% discount off of market rate rent. That discount lasts for up to 1 year. And during that year, Shelters to Shutters provides ongoing case management services that are focused on financial planning, budgeting, as well as career and life planning. From day one, we look at, well, before they move on, we look at how many bedrooms do you want to afford and things like that, so that after the year is over, they know they have some kind of savings and that they're living the life that they want to live. If they want to move off property afterwards but continue to work there, or most of our participants do continue to live on property with the 20% discount afterwards. But like I said, from day one, we're looking at what it is, as well as continued education. Most of our partners can provide some kind of financial help for going back to school and getting a HVAC certification, something relevant, of course, to the field.
Awesome. Does anybody else have questions for Victoria?
I have a
You
question.
said it and I missed it, but what area are you operating in?
Everywhere? No. So 12 cities across the United States. Of
here
course,
in
DC, Maryland, and Virginia. That's all over, literally wherever our partners have properties. So we do also work in like Norfolk, and Virginia Beach. But I know that there were some in Lynchburg, Frederick, Baltimore, PG County, of course, and Montgomery County, Fairfax County, Loudoun, all over, as well as Atlanta, Seattle, Texas.
How about Charlottesville?
Charlotte, North Carolina, or
No, Charlottesville, Virginia.
I believe I heard of a recent position there. Not to say that there's one available right this second. Of course, positions come and go.
Okay,
But I
thank you.
think I've heard of one there recently.
Victoria, can you share your contact phone number, please?
Yeah, of course. Oh, where's my chat box?
Elizabeth, did you have a question for her?
My only question was, do you serve non-veterans as well?
Yes, we serve everybody. However, there are barriers to employment. These are apartment complexes, actually typically Class A and Class B, so rather expensive as well. So the 40 to 70% is extremely beneficial to our candidates. So the background criteria is actually more strict for those who want to live on the property than for those who just need employment. But they're, well, now I've forgotten what the question was. I'm sorry.
Oh, it was, the question was if it was for non-veterans, but I have another question if you answered that. Thank you. What is the turnaround like time for someone that does get selected for the interview and whatnot, if they do get selected for the position? Usually what's your turnaround?
There, we really couldn't say. Because we don't know what positions are going to be available tomorrow. I know what positions are available today. Actually, I know what positions were available as of Friday. I will be updating those Thursday, Friday. But they are constantly changing. So the criteria for those positions are constantly changing, as well as where those are located. So it's the best fit for you and the company. And so there are many people who get screened who never get a position with one of our partners. And there are many people who could attend a hiring event the next day and got the job. So it all depends with what's happening.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Victoria, this is Brittany with Virginia Department of Veteran Services. I just wanted to verify with you, my understanding with Shelters and Shutters is you don't actually obtain any referral, like a veteran cannot do a self-referral. It has to come from a community partner. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. It has to come from any kind of nonprofit and or training program. They do not have to have signed an MOU with us, so they don't have to technically be a partner. But they do have to have a referring worker fill out the referring worker page, and they both have to sign the last page of the application, and that must be emailed to me directly from the referring worker.
We also do have Victoria's team in the Serving Together network. So for those of you that are network providers can also refer into their program as well. Any other questions for Victoria?
Hey, I think Bob asked for the phone number, but I don't.
I have it. It's on the chat. It's on the
Okay,
chat.
you got it, Bob? All right, great, thanks.
I got it. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, with that, I want to turn it over to Vaughn Zelmatics to talk more about the Northern Virginia Technologies Council Veteran Employment Initiative. Oh, are you still on mute? I think you're still on mute. Yeah, I don't think your speaker is working or your microphone is working. You should be able to dial in with your phone if you want to try that as well. We'll give you a couple minutes to get logged in. while he's getting that set up, does anybody have other questions for our other speakers currently? Any other thoughts or feedback in terms of employment right now for veterans, things that maybe you're seeing in the space? I'm sorry if you can hear my dog barking in the background. There must be someone delivering a package.
I think it was one of your panelists.
No, it's definitely my little Yorkshire Terrier. Do you need the number? Hang on one second.
If you can hear me, I'll give you a suggestion. Area code 301-715-8592.
Of course, I don't have my meeting ID up either. Do you have the meeting ID, Bob?
Yes, I do. It's 927-01-02-2717.
Did you get that, Alonzo? 17 is the meeting ID. While we're waiting for him to get in, I do want to share just a little bit of news with you guys. Serving Together is excited to be connecting our network to a larger network that's going to be launching here on June 23rd with Kaiser Permanente. And so in partnership with Unite Us, we will be launching a more gigantic network, adding in, it looks like I'm getting on in now.
Okay. So I guess I got caught with the update for the Zoom because I haven't had any. I was on before this. So how do I get that background?
On your computer, turn your volume of your speaker down to 0 and you won't get that feedback.
Cool.
I love it. Bob's all over it.
How about
I'm
now?
gonna hire Bob as my IT guy.
I know.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
The funny thing is he thought people couldn't hear him.
Okay. Thanks for your patience. My name is Von Zelmadix. I'm with Northern Virginia Technology Council. Council has roughly between 800 and 1,000 companies that are in the IT field that have a desire to hire veterans. My role as the executive director of the Veteran Employment Initiative is to kind of be a mediator, collaborator, and facilitator when companies say they want to hire veterans. My role with the company is to introduce them to, let's say, with the state of Virginia, it would be V3, which has these hiring training programs that help companies be prepared to hire veterans so that the veterans will stay once they are hired. If I'm talking to a veteran, I try to provide input towards those companies and let them know, based on the position that they're interested in, if I know if the employer is hiring in a particular area. So it's kind of a conduit where you work in the middle between the veteran community and military spouses, and you work with the companies. It's pretty cool. I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm fairly new. I came from Northern Virginia Community College, and I did a kind of like same role because I had been doing this for quite a while now. I've come from other volunteer or nonprofits, providing value to the veteran community as far as employment is concerned. That's what I do, and that's what the organization represents. And now I'm open for questions.
Can you share your phone number, Vonzel, please? It's not in the chat section.
I have a phone specifically for that purpose, and the answer is yes, and I do answer it. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Or do you want me to, or I can type it in the chat?
Either way.
Either way. That phone number is 703-483-0461, and I'll type it as well. And I did put my email out there earlier, so I have email. I did put that in the chat when we first started. Any other questions?
I have a question for you. This
Sure.
is Elizabeth Washington, Brain Injury Services.
You get the award for the most questions. You know that, right?
Thanks. I don't know if I have to say thank you or like kind of be quiet. But
She's obviously paying attention.
No, you're doing fine.
So, since I work with a lot of veterans that have disabilities, some of them serious disabilities, but they are at the point of recovery where they do want to go back to work or do part-time work or, do something, other than, be at home. They want to get back engaged into an organization doing some type of work. Do you support these types of clients, assisting them with getting back into the workforce?
Not directly. And the answer is yes, but not directly. And I tend to, that's why I'm on the call with you all today, is some of you are far better than I at helping service members transition back into the workforce. You have case managers and people that have the skills necessary to provide that bridge. My role is to be aware of the other types of programs that can help an individual depending on where they are in their journey of transitioning. So I personally do not, but I do need to connect with you so I know, like, I'm aware of Easter Seals. They do an excellent job. I need about, as I become new in this position, I need a few more organizations that do that. So that's why this call has been so helpful for me. So I do appreciate the question, and it does spark interest as I type in my phone number for the future. So I'm just a great collaborator, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
And Vonzel, can you talk a little bit more about US Tech Vets and your connection to that?
Sure. Okay. So one of our avenues, and sometimes when we go US Tech Vets, all one word, .org, people tend to think that you can only be a techie to get a job because I represent tech companies, but there's other positions out there that others can go to, and it's a collaborative effort. It's free to the veteran. It's connected to Monster. It's connected to military.com. It provides resume, a lot of online help. But after hearing everyone today, some of you have more talent at actually helping the individual directly, and I compliment you for that. But ustechvets.org is a portal free to veterans worldwide that connects them to a lot of the partners that are in my organization that say they're hiring veterans. So they get a benefit as an employer, the veteran gets a benefit, and just as I do in person, that website is designed to be a catalyst that helps connect the veterans with the employers that desire to hire them. So thank you. Who was that, Christy, that asked that question? It's a very prominent website. It does very well, and it's up for upgrade coming up in 2020. So thank you.
And can you talk a little bit about like the employers that are in that, aside from just the NVTC side of it, but there's also the CTA side as well?
Say that again. The what now?
The employers that are posting jobs on that. It's and people that are looking at resumes from both the NVTC side as well as the CTA side.
Oh, okay. So yes. So it has a mechanism inside of it that does help transitioning, and thanks for mentioning CTA, which is a prominent partner in that website, not only from a using it for their membership. They have membership nationwide as well, CTA, and they use the website with their chapter organizations throughout the U.S., and they also are a prominent funder of that website. So it's a great model. I don't know if you've caught any of the NVTC series where, like today, we had Lisa Sue on the call before this call, and she's the CEO of ADM, which is AMD, which is that they make those chips. And it's just a great collaborative unit that is eager to help veterans. And I just thought, thanks whoever asked me to speak today for allowing me to share on this platform.
Absolutely.
Christy, if I could add one thing, because I think it's important to talk about as an employer, and I say this mostly in the reentry space, is that a lot of times, you know, people are pumping their candidates to employers, and in many instances, the employees aren't ready. And when you look at employability and some of the other issues that they may have. So when I talk about, I deal with people with barriers to employment, the housing struggles, the financial struggles, the substance abuse struggles, whatever it might be, that all comes with them to the job. And so it's really important that we have real conversations on people's readiness to show up to the workplace, because we get candidates all the time. We were for a long time just seen as a referral source for everybody. And when we weren't hiring people, people would take offense to that. And I wanted to hire, you know, again, the best of the best. But when you look at the small business side, it's a business decision. And so when people need candidates that are actually able to show up and be head focused, head down, do the work, that's really important. And it just breaks my heart that so many people think that if they go through the program, there's an automatic job for them, because people really aren't being honest and forthcoming and having those real conversations. And so just as an employer, I think it's important. I like to make sure that people are set up for success, and that that some groups might get a bad rap because people are like, well, I went through this program and I didn't get the job, or I didn't get hired. But nobody told them, well, it's because you came and you didn't make eye contact, or you came to the interview and your cell phone was going off. Like, sometimes they just don't have the blueprint or the cheat code like other people have, and they're behind the 8 ball in those conversations.
That's very true. And in a case-by-case situation, we all have a role to play to try to just make, society a better receiving of folks. I do have experience of working with those individuals, is why I am wise enough to ask for help and someone who might need an additional coach, if you will, to help them get to the table, to have that dialogue, to do that interview, to have that resume ready. You're right. The other side is not as forgiving as far as saying you bring your A game or go home. It is reality that they don't want people to have as many challenges on the job at the word go from the beginning. So I don't have the answer to that, but my third part of my responsibility is to address issues like that. I have some latitude and flexibility in the space of initiatives, and I try to find programs that, like my most recent one I found, and I've been vetting them for a while now, is they provide job training while you could still have your primary job. Now that doesn't work for everybody. Some people have to take care of kids when they come home or while they're working during Corona, but there's other challenges. But there are specialty opportunities out there that if you could train at night and learn how to be a cyber security person that doesn't have a lot of dealing with the public, you could actually end up with a very high paying job that puts you in the cyberspace, and you still had your other job bringing in income while you learn that job. And those are the type of think outside the box initiatives that I try to create. And I hope that it could spark someone on the call today to go, well, I know about this program, but it doesn't work. So this program I just shared is Tuesday evening, Thursday evening, and half a day Saturday. And it changes lives from immigrant status to, so I'm looking at it for veterans. But it's very tough to find the right chemistry on the entry level for a person. And I'm not sure if that's helping you, what I'm saying, but you're right in your assessment of the job market. And this COVID is not helping at all, but we just all gotta connect and kind of like connect our arms and bring people up one at a time until we can have a better. I'm also on the apprenticeship type programming. I'm looking at different models that can help. Like I said, my focus is the veteran community, but if others find out about it, I'm not reluctant to share it. And sometimes it's a better fit for someone who may not be a veteran. But my primary role is to look for veteran initiatives that make their journey of transitioning from service to the private sector as easy as possible by providing vet working groups, other initiatives where I can put like 10 employers in a room, which would be great. For a model for yourself is to put 10 employers in a room and about 50 people seeking employment. And they do this speed dating. And it usually builds the individual up so much, like times 10 in a couple of hours. They understand the whole process of how they're supposed to think, what the whole job market is about. It just clicks for them for some reason. So I'm hoping that's helpful.
And I think Victoria, you talking with you and Natalie, you guys have both shared very similar sentiments as Katie mentioned, like in terms of readiness for veterans to be able to go into employment. I don't know if you want to add anything to your side, in terms of the work that you guys do at Shelters to Shutters on the readiness part for employment.
I work with individuals before they get hired. So I don't have any direct experience with a transition into employment, but the readiness part is also not something that we do because I am one person who works in about 12 cities. And also it would be a conflict of interest for us to do resume help and things like that. Just because if, let's say I give resume help to a candidate, we send that resume to one of our partners just doesn't hire them. They're like, whoa, I mean, you just did this for me. Why didn't I get the job? So conflict of interest. So job readiness is something that we ask that they have coming to our program. And that might be what we discussed before because we cannot help them with job readiness. And so that's something we ask them to do with their case manager or Google or whatever it may be in order to best help them get prepared for interviews and then getting the job and keeping the job. And so that's also why we ask that our partner agencies provide 90 days of ongoing case management services after the candidate has been hired, just because that individual will know the candidate or then participant better than we do, and best be able to help with their mental health and support system, and also for other reasons. If that's what you mean.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I thank you for clarifying that. Awesome. Well, any other thoughts or feedback from our presenters or our attendees?
I just wanted to say thank you.
I got a question, Christy, if I could, real quick.
Sure.
You sent out on this Valley Assistance Network?
Yes.
So if I got people or veterans I talk to up in the Shenandoah Valley area, I can refer them to the same area, and we now have footprint up there. You can find someone to assist them up there, correct?
Yep. So we have launched a couple of email announcements this week in the last 2 weeks. One is that we can now serve folks from the Valley, the Northern Shenandoah Valley area. So we're connected to Connect NSB that runs a Unite Us platform out in their community, and they have a number of providers in their community that they can refer the entire community to. So they serve the entire population out there. So we can refer veterans to them, and they also in turn can refer veterans to us to connect to our military and veteran organizations in the community. So yes, please feel free to send them our way, and we can either connect them to the Valley Assistance Network in that region or through some of our providers here in the National Capital area.
Does that go all the way down to Roanoke, do you know? I'm not that familiar with the county.
It doesn't go that far. I think I included in that announcement the counties that it served, but it's mostly kind of right up there near Winchester and some of the counties just right around that area.
Yeah, so it's Winchester and Page, Shenandoah, Frederick, and Clark counties. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Well, thank you guys so much for attending and presenting to us today and sharing more about your organizations and the things that you're seeing right now in terms of employment opportunities for veterans and some of the things that we should look out to. So thank you, Dale, Katie, Victoria, and Bonzel for all of that today.
Thank you too.
Awesome. Well, with that, I want to open it up to updates and announcements, things that you guys have going on in the community. I was sharing a little bit about serving together, so I'll just continue on and share you with a little bit more, and then I'll pass it over to whoever wants to share updates. So a few things that I mentioned, obviously we have connection to Valley Assistance Network. We also have partnered now with Kaiser Permanente and Unite Us to expand the network here in the National Capital Region. And that actually includes now the greater Mid-Atlantic region. So that'll be Northern Virginia, parts of Maryland and DC, going into Baltimore. And so with that connection to Kaiser Permanente and Unite Us, our network is going to be changing a little bit, but exciting things are going to be open for our network providers to be able to have what we call provider to provider referrals. So you can refer directly to each other, which is really exciting. But you'll still have the same awesome service from Serving Together's team of peer navigators for our military and veteran specific clients. So we are having a call this coming Friday, June 5th at 10:30 a.m. It's going to be kind of like a little community chat where we give a little demo of the updates and then ask for questions and feedback from our partners here in the National Capital Region. So we encourage you all to attend. I'll be sure to share the link here in just a minute in the chat box if you haven't already received email communications from that. I also have an upcoming Regional Committee of Practice event next week on June 11th called Invisible Wounds of Military Service, the Impact of Military Sexual Trauma. It's going to be a 1.5 hour webinar that we have a speaker from Warrior Centric Healthcare Foundation that's going to speak about military sexual trauma and the impact on our transitioning service members. Great kind of overview, and then ability to also hear from some special speakers that have launched a Me Too MST movement. So highly recommend joining in on that. It's on June 11th at 1 p.m. And I'll share the link to you guys as well. And then just a couple of updates on our upcoming collaboratives in the community. We have the Loud and CVEB meeting next Tuesday evening at 7:30 p.m. We're actually going to have a presentation from George Mason University's Psychological Services, who's going to give us a health and wellness overview, kind of specifically talking towards veterans and helping them as they maybe experience challenges with communication and loss of normalcy during COVID-19 and beyond. So should be a great presentation, and then we'll have updates and things like that of what's going on in Loudoun County. And then on June 18th will be the Fort Belvoir Collaborative, and that one is at 12 p.m. We're going to have speakers from the Defense Health Agency talking about the Psychological Center of Health Excellence, the In Transition Program, and Real Warriors campaign, as well as a speaker from Higher Heroes USA. So encourage you guys to attend those meetings. And yeah, with that, I'll just be able to share some links in the comment or in the chat box as well. But I'll kind of open it up to you guys for updates and announcements.
I had a couple. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, so we typically have a fundraiser every summer where we go out and we shoot clays. It's called Shooting Clays. And it raises funds for initiatives, and COVID has definitely put a damper on that a little bit. So I'm still waiting to get my new date, but it was scheduled for June. But now we're looking to get a new date for the Shooting Clay. On June the 10th, we have Hiring Veterans Now. It's up here on the board behind me. It's a virtual hiring fair. Anyone's allowed to register for that and participate if you know anybody looking for employment, or many of you help folks. It's called Hire Vet Now on June the 10th. We have Tech for Troops, which is August 11th. If someone is trying to remove some of the IT equipment that they no longer need or use, instead of throwing it away, they kind of refurbish things, sell things, but they also refurbish computers and laptops and donate those to veterans. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Oh, go ahead, Mallory.
I just wanted to remind everybody the Cohen Clinic is still open and accepting new clients. We have open to active duty. Active duty does have a little bit different of a referral process, but we are still open and accepting clients. We serve anybody anywhere in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. We use a HIPAA compliant Zoom platform, just like you're seeing now. So anybody that needs those telehealth services, that is still available to them. So yes, please keep referring. We have new providers, and we still have a psychiatrist on staff as well. So anybody that you know that needs mental health services, we're available. Thank you.
Hi again, Julie with Blue Star Families. I wanted to mention, I just threw up into the chat, Blue Star Families has throughout this COVID-19 pandemic been doing a COVID-19 military support initiative with a lot of different arms and moving pieces. At this moment, we're actually fielding for a study that we are looking at called RUS, or Resiliency Under Stress Study, and the fielding ends June 10th, so we're just around the corner. We're still trying to get more people to respond to the study. The study is really trying to take a look at how our military and our veteran communities are, what they're using to continue to be resilient during this time, some of the resources and services and things they're relying on in their communities that have helped them to handle what's been thrown at them. And it's also the opportunity for us to, for the very first time, really compare and contrast the veteran community and the active duty community, and if there are intersections of resources that are helpful for both, and also the services and resources that are helpful independently. So I ask two things. One, if you wouldn't mind going on and taking that resiliency study yourself, I would greatly appreciate it. You do not have to be a veteran. If I know some of you are just military connected, but maybe not veterans yourselves. Absolutely, I love to hear from our civilian communities as well. And then if anybody has a distribution list or some way that I can get it out to the populations that you serve that doesn't go against your guidelines on sending things to those groups, I would love that opportunity between now and the 10th to I can provide either you a blurb about Russ and have you send it out on our behalf, or I can, if you have a Facebook page I can post it on, or a community group or anything like that, either hit me up in chat, or I did leave my email in chat a little ways up on the chat feed, and let me know if there's any way I can also help to drive more people to contribute to our study. Thank you.
Any other updates? Heidi, do you got anything?
Nothing specific per se. I was actually just with a great group yesterday called Women Veterans Interactive, and we talked about traumatic brain injury along with the group called Pain Concussions, and that focuses on women and traumatic brain injury. So it was just a good discussion. There's definitely a need for more of that information within the community. Women do present a little differently sometimes than men, and sometimes also have take longer to recover. So those are just two organizations, Pain Concussions and Women Veterans Interactive, that I think are not officially endorsing as a government person, or at least a contractor, but just on a personal level, just groups that I have interacted with in the past year or so that I think are really supportive for women veterans.
Absolutely. I saw that you were one of their speakers on the call yesterday.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. Definitely a lot of interest in the subject. A lot of people that have the problem is, and we also have these resources with DIVIC and Ahead for the Future, the provider level knowledge is all over the map. Some of them do understand, which seems kind of few, but then there's others that it's, oh, you have a headache or you have your migraine, here's some vitamin M, Motrin, here's this or that. Vision issues, oh, let's fix your glasses. Like, people aren't really always connecting the dots, or understanding that it doesn't have to happen in a combat situation. It can happen literally 90%, as I've said probably multiple times on these calls, 90% of cases happen in a non-combat situation. The trips, the falls, sports injuries, seemingly the most innocuous thing. I was actually interviewing a midshipman candidate a couple years ago, or a couple months ago. His mother is actually a reserve a lawyer, reserve lawyer in the military still. And she was talking about just walking and not paying attention and literally slamming into a pole. And from that point forward, and this has been going on now for a couple of years, she just kept having these terrible headaches. I said, you're right there in Fort Belvoir. We have a facility right there. Please get yourself evaluated. And so I finally heard back from her a couple months later, and she said she did finally get in and start getting that help. But it's just, things happen and people don't really think about, even just the medical definition of trauma. You get a paper cut. That is technically a trauma to your finger. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but if it gets infected or if there's you keep cutting the same place again, then it can become a problem. So anyway, all that's to say, just with TBIs, it's sort of a evolving and growing field. It's something that I think started to really take off within the last 10 years or so. The VA is paying a lot more attention to it now. But you just have to ask. You just have to take more of that advocacy upon yourself as veterans and yourselves as veterans, and just really be more aware to say, hey, could it be this? Or have we thought about this as a possibility? And sometimes even just asking the question can just be life-changing for so many people.
Definitely. Thank you for that feedback. Awesome. Well, any other updates, announcements before we close out? Well, great. Well, I will give you guys your time back. I will share the chat. I'll be able to save it on my end, and I can share it in the follow-up notes, as well as any other things that you guys want to share with me. Feel free to email them over to me, and I will share them in the follow-up notes, and along with the recording of the meeting as well, so you can reference anything that that we talked about today. So thank you guys all for joining, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day and rest of your week, and hope to see you guys, some of you on Friday or next Thursday, for our upcoming webinars and events. Have a good one.